You'll flood the whole compartment.
He'll die. He's dead already.
It's too late.
Ship. Out of danger.
Yes.
Don't grieve, Admiral. It is logical. The needs of the many outweigh
The needs of the few.
or the one. I never took the Kobayashi Maru test until now. What do you think of my solution?
Spock.
I have been and always shall be your friend. Live long and prosper.
No.
We are assembled here today to pay final respects to our honored dead. And yet it should be noted that in the midst of our sorrow, this death takes place in the shadow of new life, the sunrise of a new world, a world that our beloved comrade gave his life to protect and nourish. He did not feel this sacrifice a vain or empty one, and we will not debate his profound wisdom at these proceedings. Of my friend, I can only say this. Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human. This is BlissVille, Misadventures in BlissVille. I'm here with my buddy Andrew.
Howdy.
And we're going to... How are you, Andrew? I'm sorry.
I'm doing good. How are you?
It's been a really crappy day.
Indeed it has.
Well, this is a special emergency episode of BlissVille. This one's going to go up immediately. And it's something that wasn't originally intended or scheduled, because you don't really plan these things. Leonard Nimoy has died at the age of 83. He was a longtime sufferer of COPD, which my mother is currently dying from in a Connecticut rest home. He attributes the condition to years of being a smoker, despite the fact that he quit smoking over 30 years ago. But I think being 83 contributed greatly to his passing. From what I understand, he was also an alcoholic, had quit years before. So it's not like he didn't have a long and prosperous life. He quite the contrary, he had a long life, considering. So, now I remember the first iteration of Star Trek I ever watched was when we went to see Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. That piece of dialogue that I quoted was at the end of it. I never saw the show before that. I was probably 9 years old. They didn't run the show in Philly. I saw a couple of episodes when we lived in Tennessee. That was about it. But the first science fiction franchises I think I ever saw were Star Wars and Doctor Who. But when we came to New York, Channel 11, WPIX, ran it every night at midnight. And I taped it as much as I could.
I used to watch it then, too.
Channel 11.
Yeah, whenever my parents would let me stay up. You know,
that
was really why I liked it, because I really wasn't that into it, but like I really just wanted to stay up late because I was a kid.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. We were night people anyway. You know, you up the crack of dawn. Remember,
we were the creatures of the night. Yes.
The first time we met was like I
At
don't
night.
know what. It was after midnight, and we were like up till the crack of the dawn doing the ketchup and mustard thing in your kitchen.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That thing that only you remember.
Yeah, I don't know how I remember.
Well,
I did notice that your kitchen was kind of a mess and needed to be cleaned up badly.
No, that must have been Noah's kitchen. My kitchen was good.
No.
Wait.
This was your kitchen. I do remember.
That was my parents' house.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Well, yeah. Especially if I was staying by myself, because you wouldn't have been over there at midnight if my parents were home. So if my parents were away, kitchen's gonna be a mess. I was like 14, 15, something like that. Forget it.
So my friend Mark found this press release, an original press release from September of 1969. This was like a couple of months after Star Trek was canceled off of NBC. It wound up in syndication on Channel 11 in September of that month, and it ran constantly, and it became a big hit just being on syndication. It's like, Star Trek. The funny thing about Star Trek is it never really had terrible ratings. It never did. It had good ratings, but those ratings stacking up for only 3 networks looked kind of poor. That's all. Mm-hmm. And it costs a lot of money to produce. So
you wouldn't know it by looking at it, but yeah.
Well, yeah. But the visual effects and the fact that they had to build everything themselves. I mean, we're talking about $250,000 an episode.
Build sets for James T. Kirk's ego. I mean, they had to be pretty big sets.
Yes.
It's kind of he did that Patricia Arquette movie in 1994.
Right.
Holy Matrimony.
Holy Matrimony. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was, I think, his last movie that he directed. That's weird.
I should probably look that up. It's an unusual movie for him. I guess he just wanted to do something small.
He did 3 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. Yeah.
Big hit. In addition to working on the Star Trek movies, because he directed a couple of those too.
Right. Now the Star Trek movies, which one is your favorite? Probably 2, right?
Actually, 2 had some cool stuff. I think what was the fourth one, the Voyage Home.
The Voyage Home with the whales.
Yeah, with the whale. I love the whales, man.
That was also Nimoy directed that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nimoy directed 3 and 4, I believe. Shatner directed 5. Nicholas Meyer directed 2 and 6. What was it? Robert Wise directed the first movie, the first big, overblown.
Oh God, it was horrible. The first
large
one,
budget
first
movie,
Star Trek,
which I do like to put on from now. It looks really good on. I think I have it on. I think I have the whole set on Blu-ray. It's one of the few Blu-ray titles that I actually have.
And I shouldn't comment because the last time I saw that was on a pan and scan TV 30 years ago.
So you didn't even
watch it.
You didn't even get to see the special edition that they had with the redone visual. They redid some of the visual effects.
Oh, okay.
It's ridiculous, really, when you think about it, because back then you had to bust your ass to do visual effects, and they cost millions upon millions of dollars. Now they don't cost as much, and it's just a couple of keystrokes for these people.
Yeah, true.
Because they just knock it off in some kind of a program or something. It's I remember watching, what was it? I think it was Bram Stoker's Dracula, and the visual effects in the movie are in-camera visual effects and lots of matte work and stuff. And the visual effects guy on the movie says, "You don't make movies like this anymore. It's not fun anymore. Now you're just sitting at a computer." And he's kind of pining away for those lost days when you actually get to work with your hands. You did model work and you did painting and all that stuff. Right. It's just they've taken kind of the passion and joy out of making films.
Huh. Well, that would account for some of the reason that the movies suck now.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it from that point of view.
Yeah, I mean, you compare a movie I don't know. I remember you not being a particular fan of Ridley Scott, and I was always I remember you and me were always constantly having arguments about Ridley Scott versus Tony Scott. And you were like, no, man, Tony Scott, you got to look at his films,
always
man.
Complaining about the heads getting cut off at the top because of the pan and scan in the Tony Scott movies.
Yeah, but when you think about it, Tony Scott, not to take it too much away from our topic, but Tony Scott,
sorry about that,
owes a lot to his brother.
Indeed, he does.
Witness the Hunger, and also Ridley in turn owes a lot to Tony. Because you look at a movie like, G.I. Jane, and you look at a movie like, what was it? Well, G.I. Jane is very much like, reminds me of Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide, okay, yeah.
Which Scott brother did Enemy of the State?
That was Tony.
All right, Tony.
That Deja Vu one with he started all that Denzel Washington part of his career, where that's like all he did was Denzel Washington movies. The Deja Vu was pretty good too.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I did see that one. From what I know, Leonard Nimoy was a person not completely comfortable in the skin of Mr. Spock. He tried to escape the image. He appeared in other projects. He was in this one man show called Vincent. It was about Vincent Van Gogh. He won an Emmy for A Woman Called Gold. He was nominated for each of the 3 years that Star Trek was on, playing Spock. And I was talking to my wife about this earlier, that he was celebrated by the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences for basically not doing what other actors do. He was playing a character devoid of emotion, and they liked it a lot. He never won, though, unfortunately. He was only nominated. He was the only actor nominated for the show. They didn't nominate William Shatner.
William Shatner. Oh my God, the humanity. Why would they not? He was acting.
You did a really good Shatner impersonation a long time ago. I forgot what you did, but you sort of gesticulated a little bit, and you said, "But I'm William Shatner." I'm not doing it justice, because I sound like a deaf person from Liverpool.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what you got to do, yeah.
So he wrote a memoir called "I Am Not Spock," and then years later wrote another memoir called "I Am Spock."
Yeah.
So obviously he was conflicted playing.
Yeah, obviously there's a little conflict there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a singer and a performer. He did a song. He did what was it? The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins, which I'm going to put on as a link. It's a song about a hobbit, of course, as we know. So he's all about expressing himself in so many different ways. He was an emotional person. People have told me that he had a lot of love in his heart. He was playing a character that was not emotional person, but that part gave him prosperity. It gave him legions of devoted fans and creative power. I mean, yeah, let's get into his movies. I mean, like he from what I understand, I'm not sure where his directing career started. But
I got the IMDb page up here right now. He started with a TV movie called Vincent. That's the one you were just speaking of.
Right.
That was his directorial TV. That was his movie directorial debut. He did an episode of Night Gallery prior to that in '73, and in '81 he did Vincent. His first theatrical movie, and then he did a couple of TV shows. Did an episode of T.J. Hooker with old.
Wait, did he
William
direct
Shatner.
Episodes of T.J. Hooker? Or?
He one episode of T.J. Hooker, The Decoy, in 1983.
Oh wow! I know Shatner directed also. He directed a couple of those.
Yeah, Shatner had the itch to stare. And then it looks like he got into the Star Trek movies and really cut his teeth in theatrical movies with that, and then began the interesting phase of his directorial efforts. 3 Men and a Baby,
right?
Comedy with Tom Selleck and Steve Guttenberg, and
with the dead kid in the corner that everybody insists to me is a ghost, but it wasn't a dead kid. It was a stand-up of Ted Danson, just so everyone knows.
Yeah. And then The Good Mother, wasn't that like a drama with
Diane Keaton? Right?
Keaton? Yeah,
Diane Keaton, and who else? Gabriel Byrne, or
I don't remember. I just remember Diane Keaton. I don't know why.
She was like angry or something. She's like an angry woman or something.
She's an angry mother. The angry mother.
Oh
no, it's got Liam Neeson.
Oh, Liam Neeson. Oh,
yeah, Liam Neeson. Jason.
What year was that?
That is 88.
Oh wow! So he was like, this was even before Darkman.
Yeah. So he's young. Liam Neeson is like back in the day.
Wow.
Like back in the before Next of Kin and before
this much I know.
Back
about,
around like Prayer for the Dying days, And then Funny About Love with
Gene Wilder.
With Gene Wilder. Yeah.
Right.
And then, of all things, like the straight to freaking video Patricia Arquette movie, Holy Matrimony.
I remember. Okay, what year did? Okay, that was 99. You said, right?
94 was Holy Matrimony.
Oh, okay, right, 94. Because yeah, I do remember that because we had it at the video store.
Yeah, I remember getting a screening copy of it.
I looked
where
at
I
the
saw
back
it.
and
I don't
was
even know
like, hey.
if we stocked it but we got the screening copy. I know that.
Because I looked at it, I was like, hey, Leonard Nimoy directed this? What the fuck?
What up with that, yo? Yeah.
This much I know was that in Star Trek 2, at the end of Star Trek 2, they killed off his character. Nimoy didn't really want to play the part anymore, and he was like jazzed to like kill off the character, right? But then when he saw the finished movie, he was like, I want to come back for Star Trek 3. And they're like, what?
Like, sure,
but
we
just
do that.
we just busted our asses trying to kill you and justify it. Now you want to come
bring
back.
me back to life. What the fuck, man?
He's like, I'll tell
don't
you
we
what.
pay you guys enough? I mean, come on.
We'll do Star Trek 3 if I direct it or something like that. You know, basically did that. And he did a good job. I mean, the movie wasn't that terribly successful. It would obviously, Star Trek 4 was the more successful one. And then Shatner's like, you know, hey, you let Nimoy. I can't really do the. I can't
It's
do the
my
voice.
turn to direct.
What's messed up though is that, you know, they really kind of they totally screwed up Shatner's ability to make this movie competently. They completely cut his budget. They gave him a really bad special effect. They couldn't get ILM. I mean, even ILM was like, you know,
Shatner's incompetence was all their fault. You know, there was no problem on his end. It was all
you
them.
don't understand. The Enterprise meets
I'm an
God.
artiste. I'm an auteur.
What does
You
God
get it.
need with a starship? You doubt me? That's my God right there. Excuse me, but what does God need with a starship? Anyway. And then after that, I guess Paramount was like, you know what? We don't want to have another movie directed by you. Let's just end the whole freaking franchise. So they brought back Nicholas Meyer and Nimoy like co-wrote the story or something, and they did the final Star Trek movie, which was really good actually. I enjoyed it. Really
That
good
was
visual
the
effects.
sixth one, or what?
The sixth one, The Undiscovered Country. Yeah.
Undiscovered Country. I remember I saw that. I saw 5 and 6 in the theater. That was back in the day when I
saw them all in the
every
theater.
movie in the theater. Like,
Yeah, well,
I
actually-
didn't give a rat's ass about Star Trek movies, but I saw them. Damn it!
I didn't see the first one in the movie theater, but I did see Star Trek 2. My mother was crying at the end. I was like, I didn't really know anything about Spock, right? And I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at all the other people in the theater about her age, and they're all in tears. And I'm like, why are you guys crying? I mean, I had no clue.
No.
So, Star Trek 3 we didn't get to see in the theater because that was around the time we were moving, but we did see Star Trek 4, 5, 6. We did see... Jeez, no, we didn't see the first Next Generation movie, but we did see First Contact. And then, from what I understand, I did see the newest reboot of Star Trek that they have now, which really isn't
pretty
Star Trek in my
serviceable.
opinion.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Parts, the visual effects were great, but I really felt that something was missing, and it was all the talk. I mean, there's like a lot of talk and a lot of philosophical discussion in between all the starships blowing up and all that.
Yeah.
I felt like we were looking more at an action movie where, the characters were just dressed up like characters from Star Trek. I mean, that's not.
That's what I liked. That's what I liked, and like I liked that.
And
they
also,
took...
J.J. Abrams, I really don't have any confidence in him as a
me
director.
either. I don't either. I've never really I never understood why people make such a big deal about that guy. It's because the talent pool is so freaking shallow. Like there's just nobody.
I was talking to a buddy, Scott Frank, and we talked a little bit about the. I was talking to him about the new trailer for the Star Wars movie directed by J.J. Abrams, and I was, I wasn't really impressed because it was just mainly visual effects. It didn't really tell me. Of course, the visual effects are going to be fantastic. They're going to be out of this world. There wasn't really much. The only thing that I thought was interesting was the black stormtrooper. That's about it.
Fair enough.
This guy, I was expecting when he pops up. He's like in the desert in Tatooine or whatever. He's a stormtrooper. He's in a stormtrooper outfit. I was waiting for him to say, "I'm getting too old for this shit."
Yeah.
But that's just me. Anyway, back to Mr.
Star
Spock.
Trek, not Star Wars.
So he made Star Trek 4 was an enormous hit. And he could write his own ticket, and he made basically kind of a goofy comedy, 3 Men and a Baby. And
that was a big hit. That was huge.
Now I forget what happens in the movie. Apparently, what goes on? Did they just drop a baby at the door of these guys sharing a house or something?
Meet cute with a baby. They're 3 bachelors. Blah 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 blah. Somehow, I think the baby is biologically one of theirs or something, and like I don't know, some chick drops it off or something. It's been.
Right.
I think I saw it when it first came out, and I haven't seen it since. But
any clue who the dad is?
I think it might be Danson.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
All right, maybe Gutenberg. I don't know. I don't think it's Selleck though.
No, Tom, he shoots blanks, man.
Yeah.
No. And Gutenberg, honestly, let's just consider
Gutenberg.
that for a moment.
Yeah, can you imagine the offspring of Gutenberg? Yeah. Actually, I really like Steve Gutenberg. It's not fair.
Actually, Steve Gutenberg was the world's biggest movie star for about 2 years.
I know. He just disappeared, and he disappeared just like kind of gracefully. I mean, I don't know.
He did, and then he popped up on Veronica Mars. I know this because Bronwyn was a big Veronica Mars fan, and she was like, "Steve Gutenberg."
Really?
Like,
I haven't
wow.
I haven't seen Veronica Mars, but that's interesting. I didn't realize that he popped up again.
There's like a lot of
he did this really cool movie called "Don't Tell Her It's Me." That was a really sweet little movie with him, and I think it was Jamie Gertz.
What year do you think?
That was like 89, 90.
So it was like toward the end of his career.
Yeah, toward the end.
Because he was dead. He was dead as Dillinger in the 90s. I mean, nobody.
Oh yeah. This movie barely got a release, and it was, but it was obviously something he cared about. I mean, he spent most of the movie in makeup, looking like he was like 50 pounds heavier or 20 pounds heavier and like bald.
Well, the great line about Steve Gutenberg is from Mystery Science Theater, the episode Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. They do this thing called the Godzilla genealogy bop, where they discuss the origin of Godzilla. And there's a little picture of Steve Gutenberg in the corner, and the line in the song is, "Who's that in the corner wallowing in this shame? Oh, that's just Steve Gutenberg of Police Academy fame." And the last mutation, no, you don't suppose. Yes, it is the horror of horrors, Carl Malden's nose. Anyway, so back to Lenny Nimoy here. Like I said, a very somber attitude here in BlissVille. The last thing I wanted to discuss is his photography. He was an incredible photographer. Now,
Was he?
He did. Where is okay? Right. He did much to dispel the notion and the cultural stereotype of feminine beauty by basically
photographing
taking pictures.
ugly chicks.
No, Clay. Let's just say they were big girls. They were big girls, sir.
Big girls. Oh, okay.
They were great big fat
So he
persons.
photographed fat chicks.
Well,
right.
he basically did that. What they call plus size, or it's really hard to.
Fat chicks?
It's hard to.
Does that make you uncomfortable, Dave?
Well, it's hard to label these people without sounding insulting. It's like when you talk about like midgets, they want to call them little people now, and little people sounds really insulting.
Midgets. They're midgets.
Midgets, dwarfs.
They're not midgets. They're dwarves. Which ones are they? I don't know. We'll have to ask each one particular. What their particular case is. Are you a midget or a dwarf?
The women that he photographed were attractive. They were just bigger. They weren't your conventional, sticks with wigs on them and everything. And he published a few books about this, and he was very big on that. And I have to admire like a filmmaker who also is a photographer, because that's part of the joy of that. I found a picture of him holding like a Nikon camera, and he loved cameras and stuff. And I love cameras. I have like 1 million cameras in the house. I've got 1 million of them in the basement. And I just,
I have 1 million cameras in my basement.
Yeah, I know. It sounds creepy, doesn't it? Photographers are always creepy.
Yeah, I have
everywhere.
1 million fat chicks in my basement.
That's not that great either. No. You don't want to have 1 million of anything in your basement, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. No, it's like kind of want to keep it to most to 500,000 of any given thing.
Yeah. All right. I guess any final thoughts on Leonard Nimoy?
No. Okay. No, I'm definitely sorry to see the world minus Leonard Nimoy. It's again, I wasn't somebody who lived and breathed the Star Trek world, but he will be missed without a doubt.
Yeah, I was. They had. Did you hear like a couple of days before he went to the hospital with severe chest pains, right?
I caught that headline. Yeah, I saw that.
And I was saying to my wife, this is probably the end for him because I thought he was going to be okay because he like tweeted some message but the message was kind of cryptic actually.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what he wrote here. Let me. I prepare for this shit, but I didn't. His final tweet, and I can't believe I have to say that.
God, the world we live in. Final tweet.
Because we tweet.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, okay, where is it?
The final 144 characters.
Okay. And I'll end it on this. All right. This is what he wrote. A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had, but not preserved, except in memory. Live long and prosper. And that's his final message. Wow. That's what he wrote. So, this has been BlissVille, Misadventures in BlissVille. A little tribute to Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, who also appeared in one of my favorite science fiction movies of the 70s that was not Star Trek. It was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where he played a pop psychologist. It was a fantastic movie. I love that movie.
Which one is that one now? Is that the remake or the original?
It was a remake.
That's the one with Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Jeff Goldblum, Veronica Cartwright.
Right.
And it was directed by Philip Kaufman.
Philip Kaufman. Boy, there's a weird career.
Yeah. And Nimoy played like a pop psychologist. And the great thing about Invasion of the Body, this remake of it was a product of its time. So it was about the me generation and psychology and getting in touch with your feelings. And sort of, it was a satire of it because all these people were becoming, uniform. They were becoming characters without emotions, and he was at the forefront of it.
Huh. That's interesting. I haven't seen that movie in a long, long time. I'm going to check that out.
Check it out again. And again and again and again.
And again and again and again and again.
This was BlissVille, Misadventures in BlissVille. I'm Dave Lawler, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. And live long and prosper.
Space. The final frontier. These are the continuing voyages of the starship Enterprise. Their ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone.